What does it mean to be a man? And what does it mean to be a woman? And these may seem like simple questions, but the answer is anything but simple. Especially in times when these concepts are contested and redefined. And in the midst of this confusion, generations grow up not knowing what to embrace and what to do. And of course, Muslims are part of the confused lot. And in the midst of this confusion, or whenever we are confused about anything, we always need to remember that we always have an anchor. And that is what Allah Azza wa Jalla has revealed. The book of Allah Azza wa Jalla and then the Sunnah of His Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam is your anchor. You always go back to it and it will redefine, reorient you towards what is right and what is wrong. Historically, when they wanted to liberate women, and a large incentive for that liberation is economic. Because when you liberate the workforce, you will have cheap labor and you will have greater consumerism. But when they wanted to liberate women, the model for success was the male model. That is, in order for them to be liberated, to be successful, what is success? Success is the male model. So they had to look like men, and they had to act like men, and they have to aspire to have the same career as men. Dress like them, talk like them, behave like them. And that undermined the family. But it also started to eat away at a man's sense of identity and purpose. Because when you take things away from him without replacing it, then a man feels confused, out of place, without a purpose, especially the young among them. You grow up in a society where you don't feel like you are needed, you don't really fit. There's no purpose for you. And for that reason, some, especially among the young, they start to act out. They start to misbehave. They will even join gangs and the likes. Because that gives them an identity. That gives them brotherhood. Someone cares about me, but also gives me a sense of belonging. There's a purpose, and that is missing, especially among young men. And you started to also see friction between the male and the female. Battle became a battleground. Not a place for sakina, comfort, but a battleground between the sexes. Each accusing the other of the worst, and that they are the cause of their pain and misery. You started to have females saying that men need to be manipulated. That's the only way to be with them. And if you want to be with a successful man, the successful man is the handsome, rich, and famous man. Everybody else doesn't count. And as a reaction, men started to demean women, or some of them started to demean women, thinking that the only way to react and be with a woman is to subjugate, dominate, demean that woman, be fully under your control, to denigrate them. Because they don't deserve anything else but that, because they are lying, manipulative beings by nature. And you look at how toxic all this is, and how it predicts a fall of a civilization if it continues like that. When you go back to what Allah Azza wa Jal revealed in the Qur'an, you understand that that enmity between men and women is fictitious. It does not exist. The enmity is between us and shaitan. And that's really profound if you were to think about it. Allah Azza wa Jal, when He was addressing Adam and Hawa, after they ate from the tree, Allah called on them and He said, "Did I not forbid you to eat from that tree and tell you that shaitan for both of you is an enemy? Did I not tell both of you that shaitan for both of you is an enemy?" Then Allah Azza wa Jal, when He said, وَقُلْنَا اهْبِطُوا بَعْضُكُمْ لِبَعْضٍ عَدُوٍّ, He said, descend, you will be enemies of each other. You'll understand from the tafsir that the shaitan will be your enemy and you will be his enemy. Not that men are the enemies of women or women are the enemies of men. So when you vilify men or vilify women, you are breaking that pronouncement from Allah Azza wa Jal, going against it. Especially when you hear the Qur'an that Allah Azza wa Jal said, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ, we have honored the children of Adam. Then you come to 50% of them and say that 50% is vile, that 50% is corrupt, that 50% is this and that. Half of what Allah said we have honored is corrupt. That must be a lie. That must be a lie. And the one who is doing this, vilifying men completely or vilifying all of women, is doing the work of the devil. The Prophet ﷺ, he said the devil had despaired of being worshipped in the Arabian Peninsula by those who pray, but in sowing discord between them, that he did not lose hope. In making them hate each other, that he did not lose hope. So when you are doing that work of spreading hatred between men and women, or anybody else that they don't deserve, that Allah Azza wa Jalla did not authorize, whose work are you doing? Who is your role model? Who are you learning this from? Who are the thinkers, the philosophers that you are quoting in order for you to spread that understanding? It will ultimately trace to the shaitan. It doesn't go back to Allah Azza wa Jalla and His Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. And you may be speaking, when you speak about men and women, from a bitter experience. But you really cannot universalize from your own experience to include all men. You say, my ex was like this, therefore all men are like that. My ex was like this, therefore all women are like that. You are not being just, fair, or even honest when you say this. And especially when you spread this and advise people with that type of statement, you are spreading poison. You are spreading poison that will destroy relationship and turn people against each other, and you are liable for that statement. He said, alayhi salatu wasalam, إِنَّ أَعْظَمَ النَّاسِ فِرْيَةً عِنْدَ اللَّهِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ رَجُلٌ هَاجَ رَجُلًا فَهَجَى قَبِيلَةً بِأَسْرِهَا. It says, of the people who are of the greatest liars with Allah on the Day of Judgment, it's two people. One was insulting the other, he's receiving insults back. As a consequence, he insulted his whole tribe. You follow? That is, they're fighting. He insults him. But he does not seem to think that this is enough. So he insults the entire tribe. Today we do that about countries, ethnicities, right? You insult someone and it's not enough, you include all of his ethnicity in it. And you adopt that as an attitude. What did the Prophet ﷺ say about you when you do this? You're what? A liar. So embrace that. If you want to do this, that you are a liar. And you've lied significantly, that is the greatest lie with Allah Azza wa Jal. So think about it now. When are you going to say this about all men, or say this about all women? Then you're what? A liar. And no one should listen to a liar. So you need to restrain that anger. And understand that Allah Azza wa Jal is your ally. And women, if you're a man, they are your ally. Men, if you're a woman, they are your ally. But if you seek to separate, then your ally is the shaitan.